What is the devil? This is a thought experiment, especially for people who don't believe in the devil. If you do believe in the devil, I hope that you'll also find this informative. So I want you to think about, if you were to create the devil, what would he be like? What would be his characteristics? So for this, I want to start very simple and say the devil is the opposite of God. And so we have to talk about God. And we'll say God is good, the devil's bad. So how does this goodness of God show up? Of course, different religions have different ideas about this. But I would look at the people in the religions. How do they live their lives? What is a good life for them? What is the goal? Well, we know in religions, or many religions, there's some form of reward of heaven or heavenly states or bliss or the end of suffering. And so this is what religious people strive for. Now, what if we look at people in general? What do people want? Of course, they might say many different things: successful career, money. But at the core of that is they feel those things will make them happy. Now, when we talk about happiness with people, we use the word love. Okay, so happiness, love, and actually connection. So connection with people, the world around them, nature. I would say that all good things in life are a form of connection. All right, so if we connect that to religious people and think about connection, do we see that in religion? And I'll say yes. We see things like being one with God, unity, merging into all that is. So we could say that God represents the highest ideals of what people want, which is love, happiness, connection. Now, if God is connection, I'm going to say that the devil is the opposite. The devil is separation. And so from there is where I really want to start. So let's look at separation in all its forms. So first we'll start simply with personality. What would the devil's personality look like? And when I'm talking about personality, for people who are doing spiritual inquiry, this would be the most solid form of the self. But you can also think of this as ego, the biggest ego, or the maximum amount of separation. How does that look in personality? Of course, this person would be extremely selfish. I mean, the only thing that would matter in life would be himself, of course. Now, since he's completely selfish, and the only thing that matters is himself, everyone else would be seen as rivals and enemies. Now, because they're rivals and enemies, he would enjoy their failures. He would enjoy their suffering. And like I said in my last video about evil and suffering, if you enjoy others' suffering, that's evil. So now, because everyone is a rival, everything's a competition. And now everything's a competition, he'll do whatever it takes to be the best. So, of course, lying, there's no problem with lying. He would lie about everything. Whatever helps him and hurts others. Now, he would be greedy in all its forms. So he would want more and more, but he would never be satisfied. Now, because he's never satisfied, at his core, he'll never be happy. Now, because of that, he would just be filled with anger. He would be incapable of sympathy and empathy. He would have no ability to care for others, nor would he want to, because they're his enemy. Now, because he is never happy, never satisfied, every pleasure seeking that he does would be taken to the extremes, because it would never be enough. Now, if you think about this with sex, he would push it more and more to the extreme. So since he enjoys the suffering of others, you could see this would be very dark and, of course, would become very violent. He would love power and need power in all its forms. He would want everyone to be under him. Now, he could help others, but only as long as it helps him. So there might be appearances of him helping others, but he's only doing it because it helps him. When it no longer helps him, he's done with it. So there would be no relationships possible, of course. He'd have no friendships. There might be an appearance of a friendship, but it's only something that serves him. Would he want adoration from people? I would think that he would. So we want people under him telling him how great he is. Because at his core, there is no happiness. So anything to avoid that. So just try and get more and more things to try to feel a sense of happiness. Now, what about morality? Well, okay, we already know he's a liar. He doesn't care about people. But since there's nothing beyond himself, he decides what is right or wrong. And of course, what is right is that which helps him. What is wrong is that goes against him. And now I think, well, I've said a lot about the personality, and I could say more, but I think you can get the point. Now, so far I've been talking about the devil like he's a person, but he's not a person. He's not a person that is separate from everyone else. He is separation itself. So wherever there's separation, that is the devil. So what are other forms of separation? Well, if we take this reality and you separate it, you chop it up into pieces. You chop it up into pieces of things, of concepts, of thoughts. That is separation. So I want to look at that. I want to look at thoughts. Now, for here, thoughts, concepts, knowledge all mean the same thing. So thoughts cut the world up into pieces. Now, thoughts can never connect, can never be the thing that they're about. Now, if you think about this, say you're thirsty and you know all the words in every language about water. You know all the possible knowledge in the universe about water. But that will never quench your thirst. All the knowledge of water would never be water. It can never be. So, if we include thoughts and concepts into the devil, then that means wherever there's a concept, there's the devil. So he would have all the knowledge in the universe. So now, here I do want to explain a little bit more with God and talking about the devil being separation and God being the connection or the unity, oneness. Unity, oneness, includes everything, including separation. But separation does not include unity. So anything that I talk about, any strong point that I say the devil has, like here, having all the knowledge in the universe, God has that, but more. You could say more than intelligence, there's the added wisdom that the devil cannot have. So God has the ability to be unified and separate. Okay, so now if we add all of the universe of knowledge to the devil, okay, now we can really see that take shape. So everything I said about the personalities is true, still true, but it becomes much worse. Because now where he's a liar, but he's the liar that has knowledge of everything. So he has the ability to deceive everyone. So he's extremely, supremely intelligent. So he's so intelligent that he knows that he can tell the truth all the time, as long as it suits him, and then just lie when he needs to, so that he can wrap his lies in truth. So since he knows everything, he knows everything that every great religious leader has ever said. He knows all religious books. He knows everything that every philosopher has ever said or will ever say. He knows everything said about the meaning of life, about happiness, what to do. But he's incapable of doing anything about it. Because there's one thing that he can never do, is let go of himself. And he knows that. So it fills him with extreme anger and jealousy, because he can see that people do have the ability to let go, and he's jealous of that. So now maybe here, again, I want to explain when I'm talking about the devil and being intelligent. There might be this idea that, well, if he's so intelligent, he knows how to be happy, he knows about what all the religions say, why doesn't he do it? And so it's still thinking of the devil as a character or a personality, an entity. But instead, I'd like you to think more about him as a process or a point in a process. So I thought of an analogy of a water fountain, and where the water is going up and it reaches a point and falls back. So now we could say there's a height to that water fountain, but it's not a solid point. It's just water reaching that point and falling away. I think about the devil like that. Like, this is maximum separation. That is the point of where the devil is. So there is no change. There's no learning. Again, there's no wisdom. He's incapable of change. He is always separation. And so there is no way that he can learn from everything he knows. Now, what about other forms of separation? So what about matter or material? He would be a materialist in every sense of the word. So he would want more and more things. But he would also enjoy others doing the same thing, trying to find happiness in material, in things, because he knows that they can't. He would also enjoy scientific materialism, the idea, or atheism. There is no God. It's just this. It's just empty, or it's just meaningless. He would love the idea of people trying to elevate science or human intelligence to the realm of God, to make it the religion of man. Now, I'm not saying that intelligence or science is bad, or trying to be intelligent is bad. It's the idea of using knowledge, using intelligence to reduce suffering would be good. Using it to reduce evil would be good. Just the idea of knowledge to gain more knowledge, to gain more knowledge as a pursuit in life. There's never an end. You're just constantly going. I would say you're going in a circle because it's just more and more concepts, more and more concepts. So the devil would enjoy that. But what would the devil enjoy more than anything? Corrupt religions. So the very thing that is supposed to bring people to God being corrupted, where it's actually making people feel worse, suffering more, causing more separation. Religious wars, that'd be great. Now, what would the devil think about society and society these days? Again, we look at any form of separation, anything that separates us into groups, political parties, countries, religions, ethnicities, genders, anything that separates us to make us feel more and more alone would be great. Anything that causes more suffering, seeing people become more and more depressed, searching, trying to have better technology, more things to try to find and try to fill that void in themselves. He would enjoy that. So, what do you think of this idea of the devil? Have I missed anything? Would you change anything? And what's interesting is I haven't talked about any specific religion, but you can now look at other religions. And what do they say about the devil? How does this match with what I said? If you were to make your own idea of the devil, how does it match up with what you've heard from religions? Now, when people talk about the devil and what the devil does, you don't have to think about it as a being, someone who's red with horns. Think of it as like this point in a process. Now, even how the devil would tempt people. What would the devil do? He would tempt you away from connecting with others. Anything that promotes separation. Another thing you could do is, if you have these ideas of the devil and you find yourself doing those, you can understand that's not the best way to live life. So avoiding those things that would make the devil happy is a good thing. So I'd like to know what you think. So if you can, just please leave any comments or questions in the comment section below. Until next time.